In the past 5 days, U.S. naval activity off the coast of Venezuela has surged dramatically. Washington says it's part of the drug war, but the scale of the deployments tells a different story. So what's really happening out here? Welcome to our deep dive, drug war or proxy war. The blurred line in U.S. operations off Venezuela. Today, we unpack the strategies, the hidden motives, and the sudden involvement of Russia and China. Venezuela is not just another country dealing with narcotics. It holds some of the world's largest oil reserves, maintains alliances with Russia and China, and has repeatedly defied U.S. sanctions. To Washington, Venezuela represents instability at the doorstep. To Moscow and Beijing, Venezuela represents opportunity, economic, strategic, and political. This makes the region a global chessboard, where every naval move signals more than simple crime fighting. When U.S. ships sail closer, it's not just about cocaine, it's about influence, deterrence, and leverage. So what exactly makes experts believe this is more than a drug operation? Several key indicators stand out. 1. Overpowered assets. You don't need billion-dollar destroyers and sophisticated electronic warfare systems to chase small speedboats. 2. Strategic flight paths. U.S. aircraft are focusing on Venezuelan military zones, not just trafficking corridors. 3. Timing with political crises. These movements align with sanctions battles, diplomatic breakdowns, and recent Russian naval visits. 4. China's sudden involvement. Beijing publicly condemned the U.S. presence near Venezuela, calling it destabilizing. This level of international reaction is not normal for anti-drug missions. Which raises the question, if the U.S. is not just hunting drug traffickers, who are they really signaling to? The Venezuelan government sees the U.S. Navy's presence as a threat to its sovereignty. Officials in Caracas argue that Washington is using the drug war as a political cover to exert pressure on President Nicolas Maduro and his allies. Venezuelan state media highlights Russian support, Chinese statements, and diplomatic warnings. This narrative fuels internal unity, portrays Maduro as resisting foreign intervention, and strengthens ties with Moscow and Beijing. And in geopolitics, perception matters as much as reality. In the last few weeks, Russia increased naval visits to Venezuela. These moves are symbolic, but powerful. For Russia, operating in the Caribbean counters U.S. pressure in Europe. It shows Moscow can influence America's backyard just as NATO influences Russia's. China, meanwhile, has economic and political investments inside Venezuela, oil fields, infrastructure deals, and long-term agreements. When U.S. ships draw near, Beijing responds diplomatically, accusing Washington of destabilizing the region. This transforms a local dispute into a global triangle. U.S. Navy versus Venezuela with Russia and China watching closely. Proxy conflicts rarely start with dramatic invasions. They begin with surveillance flights, naval shows of force, diplomatic messages, and targeted operations. That's exactly what we're seeing. The U.S. strengthens presence. Venezuela accuses Washington of aggression. Russia spreads influence through naval cooperation. China counters U.S. diplomatic statements. Each side tests the boundaries, politically, militarily, and symbolically. This is how proxy wars form, quietly, step by step, long before the world realizes the shift. So where could this go in the next weeks and months? Scenario 1, Controlled tension. All sides continue signaling, but no major confrontation happens. Scenario 2, Interceptions escalate. A Venezuelan or Russian-aligned vessel challenges the U.S. presence. Scenario 3, Diplomatic breakdown. Sanctions intensify, and naval presence becomes semi-permanent. Scenario 4, Full proxy pressure. More Russian ships arrive, China steps up diplomacy, and the U.S. expands its operations. None of these scenarios involve open war, but all increase long-term tension. So what is this really? Is the U.S. simply fighting drug traffickers? Or is this a strategic display aimed at Venezuela and its powerful allies? The truth is somewhere in the middle. Drug operations provide the justification. Geopolitical rivalry provides the motivation. And if recent days are any indication, the Caribbean might become one of the most important flashpoints of the year. This is a story still unfolding, and every ship movement, every statement, and every interception adds another piece to the puzzle.